So this is it.
It's the Talking Seaweed podcast. We're live with our guest, Joe Dalton, professional cannabis consultant with New England Grassroots Institute.
First guest ever.
Hey.
First guest ever.
That's true. How does it feel to be the first guest ever?
I've actually I'm getting introduced to the inner sanctum of the Seaweed.
The Seaweed, correct.
Seaweed.
Wow.
We haven't been.
This is where Seaweed is talked.
So what are you guys hitting on right now? What kind of seaweed are you hitting?
I'm smoking some Amnesia Lemon.
What?
Amnesia.
What?
Well played.
That's how we start off that high.
Right.
Oh, the Amnesia Lemon.
Yeah. Hey, you got to be medicated, man. Makes it all that much more fun.
Of course.
John, what you hitting on over there, brother?
You know, I'm not even sure what this is, Joe.
Oh, I call that a medley.
It probably
Right.
is. What did you bring?
Ooh, so this is something interesting. So this is a cultivar I've been working on. This one I worked on for a couple of years. It has a Northern Lights base to it. It's a sativa leaning. It's a hybrid. Very uplifting. It's got a fruity aroma and the terpenes. Just when you smoke it, you'll find it when you test this, because I'm leaving this as a gift for you guys
I appreciate
to play around
that.
with. You're gonna
It's
find
$350 right now.
very up 350.
Yeah.
It's $350. So
Oh, so what are we talking? We're talking 420-ish?
I mean, we could.
Yeah, I could try it out at
We
420.
could try it all at 420, or maybe we could smoke now and smoke again at
So let me-
420.
Let me ask you guys a question about 420.
Let's roll up now, and then we'll just make sure we have. Let's just roll up now.
I'm rolling up there.
Yeah, let's just roll it now.
Yeah, grind it up. And that's going to be some super tasty. This is another cultivar I worked on. I call it Low Kush. This is a cross of a Lotus and a Master Kush, so I'm stabilizing it now.
That stuff looks
It
fantastic.
has some really good expressions. It's loud. It's got a floral scent to it. I think you guys are going to love that one. But I was going to ask you guys a question. Do you know what 420 is and where it originated?
Bobby?
I've had so many people ask me that.
I don't know. I guess I would. What I've read, which is probably not true because I've read it on the fucking internet, but
Oh, it's got to be true if it's on the internet.
I mean, this is true. It might be true. Okay, so I heard it was just like dudes that were just smoking weed after school that were like, "Oh, I'll meet you over here at 420."
Exactly, the
And then
420
everybody
club.
else just kind of and then everybody just kind of
They all met out under the bleachers at the high school at 420 after school, and so that was the code. You know, back in the day, you couldn't.
What school did
say-
they go to? They got out of school at 420.
Well, it was like, when you're in high school, that's what you do. You
I'm
smoke
going to get
herbs.
as high as I can right now. I might even eat one of those cookies you brought too.
I think so.
man.
Yeah, we got some really delectable cookies here. These are oatmeal made with I call it the can of butter.
Nice.
Butter. So if you're from Boston, we say butter here. Butter. We park our cars too. But this was a coconut oil base, very healthy. Oatmeal. I find the oatmeal actually is a good binder, so it grabs onto the cannabinoids and holds them well. I use a magic butter machine to make the butter itself. Actually, I did bring some butter with me, so
Bust it out.
Why
This
don't we
guy
go
is
to the
prepared.
magic bag here?
I don't know if our second guest is going to be as prepared. We might. I don't know.
There's
I don't
no
know. If,
fucking way I second guess it, dude. I don't think the hosts are that prepared.
So this is the magic bag. We have everything. Hey, check this out, dude. Marijuana Garden Saver. This is the Bible, man. If you're a grower at home, you gotta get this thing. This will save your ass, because the biggest thing
We'll
is...
edit that out. You need to pay us for that.
Yeah, I'll pay you.
No, I'm just kidding.
We get the 7-second button. We hit the button for 7 seconds.
right. Right.
Oh no, we have a running joke. We have a running joke. Did you write this? Is this your book?
No, I didn't write this, but
okay. Then yeah.
I read it. I read it frequently. So if you're looking for the good kind buds in there, you can see that. But if you're looking for, when you have a problem, 30 years ago when I started growing, you couldn't turn to anybody. All the little problems are in here. This thing is a must. I mean, it has pictures of problems. More times I hear people say, "Well, what is
take a
this?"
picture of it with my phone.
They pull a crumbled up leaf out of their park and go, "Hey, what's wrong with my room? Can you show me?" Like, come on. So that's important. So I was gonna reach in and grab the butter, the good green can of butter. That's a stick of butter right there. One quarter of a pound. Anyway, so
how much can you? For people who don't know, no, go ahead. How much?
Nope, you go.
Can you make? How much food? What is this made for? Everything, right?
all right. So I like to use is a melon baller. So it has a certain size cup to it, and I scoop it, click it out, and that's why we get consistency. So these are all the same size, and then what I do is I actually score it. I have a device that I press into it. I used to use the spatula to get a cross cut. So if you can see that out in on the channel.
Yeah, can we turn that light? Can you turn?
Yeah. So anyways, you can
should
see
be
that there's a
switches on the back
crisscross
of that.
on those. There you go, right there.
Turn down see how there's a bunch of switches on the back? No, the light, back of the light. Turn off a couple of them. There's like 4 of them. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better already.
Yeah, that works good.
Thank you.
There's only one left.
No, leave it on. That's fine.
So one of the things that we deal with for this people coming onto the market in the legal markets like here in New England, Massachusetts, and other states is that when you share edibles, this is really, really important for anybody that wants to be in the business, or if you're sharing your edibles, it's important to the person receiving it. You ask them, how often do you use cannabis? You know, do you smoke daily, weekly, or you're just a weekend person, you only take a couple of puffs, or so you're very low dose. So it's important that if you're giving them an edible, I like to say to people, listen, if this is your first time, only eat 1/4 of this, wait an hour and a half to 2 hours, see how you feel. If you're still feeling good and you're comfortable, fantastic. If you feel that it wasn't enough, then you can eat another 1/4 and wait another hour and a half until you find out what your dosing is, because we find that everyone has a different dosing level. So that's important, because when you have a bad experience with an edible, you'll never go back.
Right.
I can tell you a real good one. So I'm not a heavy consumer. I use it as a medication to keep my body in homeostasis, or as they say, in balance with my endocannabinoid system. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But when I went to a friend's place once, he said, hey, you want one of these gummy bears I made? And I was like, you know, as a courtesy, I say, sure, I'll take it, you know, and I take it home and put it in the top drawer and leave it there. And then one weekend you got no herbs at hand and you're like, oh, I got that gummy bear. So I grabbed the gummy bear and I look at it and it's only this big. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, you know what? I'm not sure how strong it is. So I bit an ear off. And about an hour later, I was like, oh, well, there's the cops. They're coming to get me. I was so paranoid, I felt like crap. I couldn't wait to get off of that trip. So it's important that, and I went back to the kid and I said, dude, these things, how strong were they? He goes, oh, they're not strong at all. And I says, yeah, but how much cannabis do you do? Oh, about a pound a day, man. I'm like, oh, crap. So it's important that if you don't know the milligrams.
65 pounds a year. Could you even smoke 365 pounds?
Do you even smoke, bro?
Could you smoke 365 pounds? Send us your videos of you smoking a pound a day.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say I have a buddy who always,
Do it.
like when people first started dabbing all the time with the wax and stuff, he was always the guy who would give people way too big of dabs, so they never wanted to dab again because they'd like pass out and puke and stuff. And he always thought it was funny. I got him so high he puked, and it's like, no, you ruined that for him forever now. He doesn't want to get that high again. Like, thanks.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's important is to understand proper dosing of your medicine. If you're doing it recreational, you know, just fire up a joint, burn it, or do a dab, whatever, you know, you like to do. But again, on the medicine side, you really need to understand dosing so that you can get your body balanced. You know, before I started using edibles, I suffered with severe headaches, migraines for most of my life. I would never leave my house without a pocket full of Advils. You know, in that little secret pocket we have there. I mean, I'd turn around and drive back home just to take the Advil and fill it up so that I have them to take when I started to get a headache.
Right.
You know, in my state here, since it's been legal, I can have access, and I grow my own, I make my own butters, I make my own edibles. So I know exactly what's in it. I'm an organic grower, so everything is clean, very clean. I don't even have to flush my plants, but I flush them anyways, but it's all organic. But so for me, I use it now. I don't even think about Advils. Couldn't even think about it. I haven't had headaches in a long time. Occasionally I'll get a headache, but then I'll turn to cannabis, or I may vaporize for a quick hit.
Yeah, what's your favorite thing to do when you have a headache? Eat or vape or what?
So if I feel a headache coming on, I'll use the vape, just a couple of puffs, and that will take the edge off and it will knock it back. And then I'm going to take...
What kind of cannabis are you using?
So this cannabis that I like to grow is a hybrid, okay? I do cultivation and cross-pollination, so I'm actually developing strains that I'm interested in. So I'll take the attributes of one strain to another. Right. So I like some indicas and I like some sativas. As you guys know, sativa up, indica down. You know what I mean? The down is the couch lock effect, where you're just like heavy. That's great for sedative, but for me personally, I like a hybrid, the best of both worlds. So I like to do things. I'm active, and so I'll use this, and it'll give me an uplifting, happy, euphoric feeling. Everything's ready to rain. I feel great. And then on the tail end of that, as I come down off of the high that you get from that initially, is then I feel relaxed and just I can rest really easy, but I don't feel crashed and heavy and like, oh, I don't want to do that.
What kind of things do you like to do?
As far as consumption, or
no, you said you like to do things. I was just wondering what those things are.
That's a long list. We're gonna need a whole podcast just for that. What I like to do.
What do you like to do? What's your like?
So I like fishing, outdoor stuff, fishing, dirt
cool.
bike riding.
Cool.
I enjoy that stuff. Hiking in the woods, things like that. I like technology. I like videos, making videos. I like growing. Growing's a passion.
Yep.
Outdoor gardening. I do a lot of that as well.
Yep.
Just to give you an idea, I'm a vegetarian, so I grow a lot of vegetables.
See, that's cool though. See, we like to kind of just put like a face.
Yeah.
With, like people, I mean, if we had everybody come in and only speak on cannabis, it would all sound the same. But when you hear it from so many different people, you see how big the community really is when you actually like look at it.
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of people that, you know, during Prohibition, a lot of people were kind of in the shadows about it because you don't want people to know, and you didn't want people to look at you a certain way because you're smart and you're trying to move about this life, you know, however you need to. And I think that putting, you know, you're a vegetarian, you like to grow your own vegetables, you like to go hiking, you do all these things. Mm-hmm. It's not like you know, if you said, I like to consume cannabis, or I consume cannabis for my headaches, and then, you know, I like to sit on the couch
and play
video games for the rest of my life. Like, no, you're being productive. Like, I'm productive.
Right. Yeah. No, you're not the type of dude. I've known Joe for a little bit, and I know you're not the type of guy who sits back on the couch and, you know, watch. Just based off what I see on Facebook and how active you've always been since I met you. It's never like
I haven't
video games and TV are not.
I grew up playing video games when I was a kid. I remember
thing.
before Madden would like catch the ball and stuff. So I still like to play,
Sure.
but I only play when like my work is done for the night. Like, you know how late
how
late do we work, dude?
Yeah.
And when we get off the phone, I'm like, all right, I need to go to bed. I'm gonna play one game of Madden and then I'm gonna head to bed. That's my allotted video game time.
Right.
Sure.
That's my allotted video game time right there. Is when everybody's asleep, everything is done.
Yeah.
And it's bedtime.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about what's happening in, you know, the cannabis community and what's happening. So like you said, back in the day, so my day, I was born in 1963, so that gives you an idea how old I am. But it was, you had to be covert, you had to be secret, you know, you didn't want to have a roach in your ashtray if you got pulled over by the, you know, 5-0, the cops.
Right.
And, you know.
Now I don't even notice them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, it's there.
You know, I remember the day back in the early days. Remember sitting in your car, de-seating, and you're looking. And this is how you got caught, guys. This is how we got caught. Those of you from the 70s and 80s, you know what I'm talking about. You're like this in the front seat of your car. The cops know what you're doing. You're de-seeding and twisting the joint. And they know it. And I used to throw my seeds behind my seat. So one day, after I got rid of all the McDonald's bags, I used to eat unhealthy back in the day. McDonald's, Wendy's.
Right.
You know, when you really move along, you go from McDonald's and you go up to Spendy's, I used to call it.
Yeah,
you know, it was expensive.
Wendy's is classy.
But it was better, right? So one day, I'm cleaning out the car, and all of a sudden, I see a bunch of plants on the back floor from my seeds. It was awesome. Because back then, everything had seeds.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what drove me to grow. One day I was
those must have been some strong genetics. If they like popped on the back. Yeah. In the back floor.
Well, actually they were just Mexican or Colombian herbs. They're just outdoor sativas, and they'll grow in any environment. So a moist floor, the carpet was like rock wool today, where it just was wet and just the seeds popped and got little sprouts.
That's like, funny.
It was having sprouts all over my back floor. And imagine the cops pull you over and they're searching your car. All of a sudden you got a little grow going on in your back floor.
The fuck is this? Why are you driving?
Don't touch that. I'm working on something.
Yeah. So
in the future, this is gonna matter. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we had to be secretive of it. And but I always had a saying, even back then, because you know, when you grow up on alcohol, there's always a little bit of friction at the parties, and you know, there's some fights, and there's fights over girls and boys and all that other stuff. But whenever you go to like a more cannabis-based party, everybody's cool, chill. Hey, give me a hug, man. I love you, man. Let's get a pizza because I'm hungry.
Yeah,
and it was
like, no.
It was
we were somewhere one time where everybody was high, guaranteed, and within 30 to 45 minutes, it was completely silent, and I was whispering to him because I didn't want everybody to hear me talking loud.
Right. He called that too. It was like an hour. It's gonna go quiet in here.
Yeah.
Well, everybody was just dabs and dabs and dabs.
Yeah,
and I
very
was like,
heavy.
Oh, everybody's going to bed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the blunt we smoked was just like
It was like a half-ounce blunt, and then there was a
Yeah.
a
A
chocolate
half-ounce blunt.
Yeah.
and then there was
Oh,
like
man.
years, and then there was like
And-
that's what the day progressed as.
And
It
then
was
there
like,
was
let's
there was
start
a
off
flowing
here and see what
chocolate
happens.
fountain that was medicated, and
Yeah.
just fruit next to it, just pineapples and
Pineapples
strawberries
and
everything.
strawberries.
Wow.
And
How many of
chocolate.
those did we have? I don't know how many. Nerds.
I feel
wrote
like-
Wow.
everything. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I
medicated.
was eating them just kind of like, oh hey,
Like nothing, right? A
Just
little while later,
a
you're
little bit of
like,
chocolate. Yes, I will.
They were
junk
just
later.
laid out. Yeah, exactly. That was when my girl slept for an entire
Yeah.
day. Like she slept for like 24 hours out of like 28 hours. She got up to eat like once, went back
Wow.
to sleep. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was a long day.
That's what happens when
Yeah.
you eat like 500 milligrams of weed.
that's
And
potent. That's
they-
potent.
I feel like
And
we were
take
like a weed
dabs and-
tornado. We just like anything that was in front of us was just like torn down.
Right. We even got to smoke at a very fancy restaurant in the Seaport District that night because of the company we were around. They knew who he was, and they were like, "Oh, you guys can go out on the balcony and smoke if you want." And we were like, "Right on."
Isn't that awesome? And
Yeah,
that
it's
more,
cool.
you're going to see more and more of that. They're going to be doing those for social consumption at places because it's legal, but where do you go to smoke it?
Right.
Some people don't want to smoke it in the house they live in. They want a private place, and so that's coming. And you're going to see a lot more of that. But I also think you'll start to see people get over the excitement of how high can I get and how much can I consume and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And we all did that in our era. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Back in our day, it was how big of a joint could you roll, and you went and you bought the Cheech and Chong album and you pulled out the bamboo that he had, and it was a big giant, so you could roll
Right.
the big fat joint and say you did it. Put
Yeah.
an
That's
ounce
actually a
in
really
it.
good idea.
This was the
So-
week.
Yeah.
This was the weekend of the Freedom Rally, so that's exactly what this was. This was people overdoing it for the sake of
Being able to say I could do
yeah,
it.
saying remember in 2017 when we went this hard. Next
Yeah.
year. All just to take pictures and say this
Yeah,
is
the
what we
vibe
did.
there was unbelievable.
Yeah. It
I
was
mean, to
just-
be honest with you,
just
I still
crazy.
enjoy that every
That was
now and
good.
again. Like, I mean,
well, you
I
saw-
smoke regular. Like, you see me, I rolled up, I lit it up, I put it back down. I'm going to hit it when I want to hit it, and that's how I like to kind of go through the day. But, like, if we're going to celebrate cannabis, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if
Celebrate,
someone's
man.
gonna pay me for getting
Yeah.
high,
But
then,
what
I
time?
guess.
What time is it though?
I
By
don't-
celebration, isn't there a
Oh, yeah.
celebration coming up soon?
no, we still got like 14 minutes.
Oh,
So-
we can work up to the 420.
So, okay, let's talk about what we're going to smoke. What are we going to
What
smoke
do you
at
want?
420?
What should we
Which one?
smoke?
Hey, so I would do this.
Grower's choice.
I think this one here, because I knew I was coming over. This is still in the curing process. So I'd really like to see you enjoy this in another, say, week or 2 weeks.
All right, cool.
Okay, but it's got to be burped. I pulled this from its master. I use Sea Vault, which is like a humidor, like you would use for cigars. I use them for cannabis. They're Sea Vaults. They're beautiful cans, and you put a moisture pack in it,
Yep.
which puts moisture into the herbs and takes moisture out. So it keeps it the right consistency, the right balance. So, because if herb dries out, it degrades.
Right.
So the trichomes head, they start to overdevelop and over cure, if you will.
Yeah.
So this is on its way. So this will be real nice and tasty. But right now, this one here, I think you should grind this. And
Let's
you know
smoke
what?
this
As a matter of fact, I haven't rolled a joint in so long, like many years.
Roll it up.
I'd love to try.
Here you go.
And
Let's
see
do
what
it.
we can do. What do you got for papes?
I have unnamed papers because they're not sponsoring the show.
No, you're kidding me. They're non-sponsors yet.
Yeah.
No, I like the organic hemp ones. The raws.
Organic hemp. We won't say the name. Aw.
Yeah.
I said it. I'll do it. I'll do it sometimes.
Wow, that's a teeny little paper, man. Back in the day, we had newspaper we used to roll with. You guys see this? This is like...
You guys
is
see
that
this?
not-
How's that gonna work?
I mean, last week I was smoking blunts, but New Year, new me.
Hey, well, just so you guys know, I'll twist this baby up and let's see how it goes and see if I still got the touch. But I used to really get into the science of rolling and things like that. But
I love how into it you are.
yeah, I really get into stuff, and I like perfection,
Can't complain.
Oh, if the smell-o-vision was available today, you could smell the dankness, This is the underlying base of this is a Northern Lights number 5.
That was a Willy
This is
Wonka
cross.
reference. Did you hear that? Right? That was Willy Wonka, right?
What? Which one?
Smell-o-vision?
Smell-o-vision.
Isn't it? Isn't that from
Hey.
Willy Wonka? What's
You
that from?
stole fizzy lifting drinks. You touched the ceiling. Now it has to be sterilized and cleaned. You lose. You get nothing.
That was ruthless. That little boy was like, I thought I was a good boy.
Mr. Wonka.
Oh man.
So shines a
What do you want me to
good
do with
deed in a weary world.
Oh, so you're a big fan.
Hey, give me that back. You know,
Do you like the new one? Have you seen the new one with Johnny Depp?
I have seen that one too. So
Fuck
you
that
you
one.
definitely gotta be smoking really high to get along on that one. Like,
Yeah,
what?
dude, fuck that one. That one's the worst. I feel like the first one like taught kids like, listen, life is hard sometimes, but then sometimes you get some good shit. But hey, sometimes you lose that good shit. But if you stay good, you might get it back.
Right.
Yeah.
This one, I didn't see the new one.
It's just Johnny Depp being a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Oh, take a dry hit on that, man.
Oh, it's so fruity.
That's aromatherapy. You know, actually, aromatherapy is, you know, you ever go to a place and you smell something really nice? And, one of the things that you learn if you really get into the cannabis is about terpenes. So there's cannabinoids and there's terpenes, and there's lots of cannabinoids and there's lots of terpenes. So the way I explain it to people is cannabinoids, the cannabis, is like the bus. The terpenes are like the driver. They steer the outcome. So they're modulators. So terpene profiles, when you're choosing your cannabis to grow or to purchase at a dispensary or a recreational store, is to really, and this will come, it's not happening today. Today it's all about THC number. If it's the biggest number, that's why they fluff the numbers. They cheat a little bit because the consumer today that's going in is looking for the highest value. Well, if that's the case, if you go into a liquor store, why don't you just buy Everclear? It's 190 proof. Just
Right.
suck it down. It's moonshine.
Right.
No, because you want
I
the
drink
flavors.
moonshine sometimes.
Oh God, no! But I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So terpenes
It's not all about that.
are modulators, and cannabinoids are modulators. Like CBD is a modulator. It brings the high down. It kicks it back. You know, you ever been at a party, like you just said a little while ago, sometimes you go to a party, somebody gets way too high. Well, you can take some lemon zest, put it in your mouth and chew it a little bit, and it knocks back that paranoia.
What?
Because the limonene that's in the lemon, which is a terpene. So terpenes are
Drew
in all
Dalton
sorts
just
of
saved
things.
everybody's life.
Right.
Yeah.
He's gonna buy everybody that's ever been dying from weed.
Right.
Well,
you just saved their lives.
You can always have a few spare peppercorns in your little secret pocket too, because you can chew on a peppercorn and that'll knock it back to your high. So if you're getting too high, that's the one thing about getting too high. It's usually paranoia comes with that. And when
That's
the
the
paranoia,
one.
then you're not comfortable. You're uncomfortable. You think rethinking your whole entire life. And you're
Why
like,
is everybody staring at me? Do they know I'm
the cops
high?
are on the roof. And you
Right.
look in the peephole. Who's coming? So that's a little trick you can do to trying to peel it back a little bit, and so you don't have to wait. That's why some people say drink some orange juice. It's because of the limonene that's in there.
Oh, so orange juice works too?
Yeah, orange juice too, because it has limonene. But I don't recommend it because again, it's mostly sugar. That's the unfortunate thing when you look at a lot of these juices. You think you're drinking juice, you're really drinking sugar water.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And that's not right. And then, so the other thing I was going to say is, you ever walk in a pine grove, out in the woods? I like to be out the woods hiking and riding dirt bikes and stuff. You ever do that?
That was the best opening to a sentence I've ever heard. You ever walk in a pine grove?
I looked at him and I go, no, I don't think
Your
so.
girlfriend? Believe me, it's a lot of fun. You want to do is, if you go out to that
I'll
pine
take my
grove,
girlfriend, not my wife.
will your wife come with you?
No, I was just kidding. I
Will
was
your
just
wife
kidding.
come
My
with you too?
girlfriend.
Man, you better
Girlfriend.
edit that piece out, because many deaths, my friend, many
No,
deaths.
she knows. She knows I'm good.
Oh, that's good. So, when you walk into a pine grove or out in the woods where there's a lot of pine trees, you smell the pine trees?
Yeah.
That's pinene. And that's an uplifting, happy, euphoric feeling. You just feel right. Everything's good. You feel relaxed. It's because of the pinene. And then that's why some of the herbs you smell like pine trees.
Yep.
They're heavy in the pinene terpene.
So those will make me happy.
Correct.
So anything that smells like pine trees, I need it.
I see. I know, because you all know. I know that smell, the exact smell you're
It's like
talking
Christmas
about.
tree weed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It smells like Christmas, and you get all excited, and you
Yep.
think of. I love Christmas, so I get
I
excited.
love Christmas.
All
Christmas is my birthday.
What's
so
your
I'm
favorite?
early about
It's
it.
your birthday, really?
Yeah,
Happy birthday!
Thank you, man.
My birthday's this week, but it's today. Tomorrow.
Birthday's tomorrow.
I
Yeah.
was
birthday's
celebrating the 20th anniversary of my 34th birthday.
What's your
Anyway.
favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, Home Alone, man.
Home Alone. All right, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Man. Watched that 1,000
What's your
times.
favorite Christmas song?
Oh, I don't know that I have a favorite. I listen to a lot of it during the season because they, basically you're forced to if you listen to the radio. They want to
I'm not
pound
mad at
that
it.
stuff down at you, but I don't see that I have any favorites because I look at myself in the music realm as an eclectic of all types of music. Music is vibrations. Vibrations modulate your mood, right? So maybe in the next podcast we'll have a little music in the background, maybe some homegrown music.
I like Wonderful Christmas Time is mine.
Sing if you really sing it. You got a rap version of that, bro?
Oh, I'm coughing.
Sounds of the ocean.
Wait a minute. Oh!
He just dabbed on it.
Yeah, people laugh when I do that. They're like, "What? Where'd you pick that up?" Well, I got friends. I got low friends in high places. We need a little poker tool, so let's use this and poke it in.
We still got 6 minutes.
Now, here's a little fun fact for you listeners. Did you know, right now, if I ate this joint, it won't get me high.
And not even a little bit?
Not even a little bit. You know why? Because the THCA, so tetrahydrocannabinol acid, is the natural state of your THC. The acid carbolic molecule gets removed when it gets heated up. So when it gets heated up, it releases that carbon molecule and now activates it. That's why you hear that term activated. That means the acid molecule has been removed. Now, acid is still good for you in an edible form. You can have THC activated and you can have acid form as well, and they're very beneficial to healing the body. So when you remove it from the heating, it's activated. When you burn, it automatically decarboxylates. T-carbing, you've heard that, decarboxylation. It's heating it up and it's activating.
Which if you're going to make like brownies and shit, you have to do that.
Yeah, you got to
Remember
heat it
that.
up in the oven before you go putting it into your bada. Oh, I'll tell you a real
Remember
funny story about that one. So this is going back probably 35 years ago. So
Do you want to finish that though? So
Yeah. All right, so I digress. Sorry.
No, because he threw you way off, and I just wanted to hear the end of this. I was all into it, like
Hey,
zoned out.
you know what? Squirrel!
Right.
Talking Seaweed podcast.
It happens. Squirrel, shiny ball. So activating it is from heating it up. Oh, look at that. I still got it, man. Look at that. You guys see that? Let me just get it up into the camera. You guys can see that nice? Huh? Oh, yeah. Who still got it? Joe Dalton University, baby. We teach you how to roll joints.
Man.
Yeah, so terpenes. Terpenes are the way of the future. And that's why, if you look at the market today, 50% of the market is pen, oils.
Yep.
And that's just in the last 4 years. So
Right.
5 years ago, it was 100% flour. Now it's pen, it's oils, concentrates.
Right.
That's where it's going. But now they're learning about the modulating with terpenes. So in distillates, you can get the terpenes out, and you can dip that terpene in your dab rig along with whatever base you're putting in there, and you modulate it. So imagine that, having your high where you can actually steer it the way you like it. One day
Right.
you just say, I want to forget about the world and I want to go this direction. But today I need to be functional, but I want to be stimulated and just forget about time. So I want to turn this way a little bit.
Right.
That's what's happening. That's why when you look at your herbs, back in my day, it was pressed Mexican earth dirtweed. You had some Thai stick, you had some Colombians, you had different types of herbs, but traditionally more sativa based, and sometimes very heavy,
Right.
sedative. And every now and then you got a bag of good herb and you're like, oh, boy, I wish I could get that again. So when you went to your street dealer and you bought your herbs, it was like, what do you got? It was either, and they'd always tell you the same thing. Oh, this is killer, man. This is the best. Oh yeah. It's dirt. It's shit. It's,
Right.
Loud.
what are you going to do, right? So, because I don't burn, actually vape. What are we looking at time here? Are we getting
4:18.
prep?
And I already got you guys covered. That's
Oh,
what I was
bro,
doing. You
bro,
guys
you're
saw me.
on
I
me,
was
man.
over here.
I need a
and I
little
had this
time,
going
see.
on.
Now, I'm going to say this to the listeners. Now, I'm not foo-fooing or knocking anybody burning their herbs, okay? I burnt plenty of herbs. I never left home without a big bag most of my young life. and I burnt a lot. But then I got the cough for the smoker's cough, the hacking, and all that stuff. I won't go
Which
into
I know nothing about.
No,
no idea. No idea about those coughs.
So I learned as you age, you look at cleaner methods. Hence I went vegetarian, started cleaning my body. I don't eat the dead animals anymore. And again, I'm not knocking that for those. You do what serves you. But I learned to vaporize, and vaporization is just me basically heating up the terpenes and the cannabinoids and releasing them and taking that medicine in, because I'm really more on the medicine side. I like rec.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I like a good laugh too, because I love to have fun, right? But on the medicine or the medical side, for keeping my body in balance, I know my levels. I don't overdose, because that's the thing. Back in the day, we'd burn until you got high. And then realize you were way too high.
Way too high, yeah. Right. No, that's my favorite.
That means you like overdosing, dude.
No, it's called what is it? Ghost weed. No, what's it called? Phantom, like the Phantom High.
Yeah, Phantom High that sneaks
the
up
creeper.
on you. The
creeper.
Yeah.
You ever listen? Joey Diaz is the comedian.
No.
Oh, you should need to watch his show. He fucking will eat 500 milligrams and then just shoot the shit for an hour, and it's so fucking funny.
Wow.
Like he's just hilarious.
He's toasted.
Oh, he's a riot. He's got all these funny stories. He's all over Joe Rogan's podcast all the time. They're good friends.
Whoa,
and he's just like,
let's do it.
Oh, 420 it is.
Fire it up. You guys burn it. I got to heat mine up, so hopefully I make it in time to hit on the 420. So I got to let the PAX pen do its little color thing there. Once that changes colors and goes green, I can draw on it.
Is that your favorite device? I'm sure you've tried a bunch of vapes. That's your favorite one?
Yeah, this is my favorite. The PAX, I've had the 1. This is the 2. They have the 3, which has more features, but I'm not done using this one yet. It's convenient for me because I don't need heavy dosing. I own 3-4 puffs. I'm modulated the way I need to be. I'm happy. I feel good, and that's my balance. So, like I said, I don't like to overdose.
Right.
And the same thing with edibles. I know my dosing there. Now, if you're when you draw on that, the first couple of hits, you feel that you taste the terpenes. Oh, what? You coughing, dude? You know what that means? Back in our day, we called that, off to your cough. You think you just hit a dab rig or something?
Right.
Dude.
I don't know why I cough. I've been coughing ever since I've been smoking.
Oh, dude, you know what it is? It's called greedy. You took too big a hit.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And you held it in. See, that's the other thing. People pull in and hold it. The reason we held it is because there was very little to go around. You really should smoke it like a cigarette. Take it in, puff it, and blow it out.
That's what I thought.
Take it in
I
and
was
blow it out.
smoking it.
Take it in and blow it out, just like a cigarette. Don't hold it, because then you get the expansion. You cough your lungs out. Right?
See, but that's how I smoke cigarettes.
All right, so we're ready. 420, brothers.
It's 421
Peace
now,
out.
but I get it.
Happy 420, everybody. Oh man, I've been just munching on edibles the whole time.
I was born at 419. Like I was literally born just in time to light up for 420.
Oh, dude, that is
so I light up, right? I was like, thanks, Mom. That's awesome.
Thanks, Mom.
That's sick. Thanks for doing that for me.
That's funny.
Now, I want you to taste this one after you're done coughing, dude.
I'll be good. It was
taste the difference between burning it.
All right. So the reason I coughed the way I did, let's analyze this
same weed,
quick.
right?
The reason I coughed the way I did was because of the paper at the beginning of the blunt.
The newspaper. Oh,
the papers.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, I gotta go.
You're gonna blame it on the paper?
I am. I'm going backwards, man. I was at blunts last week.
I
was at blunts last week, and now I'm at papers this week, and then I'm gonna go back to my bowl.
All right, you know how
I might head over here.
You know how we're gonna figure that out?
You have me over here, I think.
All right, pull out a paper. I'm gonna wrap you up an ear joint, and I want you to smoke just the paper and see if you hack.
Oh, but I did. Gross, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the only things that this is like the closest I'm gonna get.
So the explanation on burning versus vaping. So I like to use the pizza box explanation. I picked this up from Marcus Richardson, the Bubble Man's World. You guys should check him out. Incredible. So he describes the pizza box. So when you get the pizza box at the front door, we've all bought pizza, right? Do you eat the box with the pizza? No. You eat the pizza. That's the goodness inside. So the cannabis plant is the pizza box. It holds the goodness on top of it, the trichomes, the glandular trichome heads, the oils. That's what your medicine is there. So for me, I prefer the vape. Again, I'm not knocking the burn because I used to burn as well. But I found as you get older, you need to look at reduction of harm to your body because you want to last a little bit longer. Now that you got a few bucks that you can spend, you want to be able to spend it instead of spending it on pharmaceuticals, right? So this medicine here, all that I need, I have no pharmaceuticals whatsoever. And whenever you go to a doctor and they say, okay, why don't you write down the list of all the medications you're on? I'm not on anything. And they look at you funny. They go, you're not taking any medicine? No. Nothing at all. All right, for the third time, no. See, I'm in my 50s, and they expect that they've got you on that treadmill, you know, the pharmaceutical treadmill where you start with a couple of pills, and then you get the 1 week box, and before you know it, you're on the 30-day box, and you've hit the big time, and you're a good customer. And you should actually get some more, because one pill gives you a symptom that they got another pill to fix that symptom. That makes another symptom that gets another pill. So you see how that works, folks? Get your body back in balance and really start to explore the endocannabinoid system. All your cells have receptors. But we'll save that for another segment. So we'll leave you like a cliffhanger. So
Right, this guy's full of knowledge.
we hit the 420. That was delicious. And I only needed a puff because I had puffed before we started, and that's why I'm yabbing. Because we're using a hybrid. And the hybrids uplift you and get you a little bit chatty. Great for a podcast, right?
Right.
So now that you guys got the good sacred herbs here,
That was good.
you'll be able to enjoy those and share with the
appreciate
guests.
that
I always
very
say
much.
sharing is caring, right?
It is,
Always.
absolutely. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll bring you some next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
sure.
I didn't know
It's
you
got to
were
be
coming.
organically grown, no synthetics.
All right.
All right?
I got
So you're gonna have to change up your game, bro. It's not about how big and how much you can get for it. It's all the future of cannabis is, you either have to differentiate yourself if you're in the sector of growing. You're either growing high volumes and you're killing it on price, or you're growing craft and high quality. Like when you go into I use the cigars for those that smoke cigars. You walk into a tobacconist and you go into the humidor and you walk in and he goes, "What do you like? What do you like out of your tobacco?" And they'll guide you there. Cannabis is going to be the same way, but we're going to have people that want high quality with certain expressions and terpene profiles. Then you're going to have the
What's
people.
your favorite terpene profile?
I'm building it now. So these herbs here, because I'm a cultivator, I am now breeding to try to find that exact expression that works for me. And then when I have that, now I'm getting close. This has a nice expression. I like it, but I'm not satisfied yet. I want more. I'm working on this strain here, the low kush. I'm like, go from, let's see, on a scale of 1 to 10, I call this a 6
Okay.
for me. This, I would say, is probably right now, as it is today, probably a 7 or maybe an 8, maybe
Okay.
7.5. But I won't know until I'm finished.
What kind of
Sifting
What
it.
kind of flavors do you like?
I like
Personally, what
I
do you
like
just like your
florals. I like citruses. I'm not as much into the gas
Yep.
side of it,
Yeah.
the diesels and the
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. You'll find that, and here's another interesting thing that your listeners will really like this, and this is important for anybody out there that hears this message. If you're struggling, and I'll use this in a nice, polite way of an opioid dependency, okay? I won't use the word addiction, okay? But it happens. But the dependency, whether you're on a prescription on a consistent basis and you're trying to get off and you realize that, holy smoke, I can't because then I get sick. So you have to get it. And then when your doctor cuts you off, you go out to the street because it's cheap and then you're buying heroin. And you're snorting it at first, and then next thing you know, you're mainlining it because the snorting isn't getting you there fast enough. And then you're mainlining, and then it's it. It's a downhill road. However,
got really sad.
there is a cure. And you're going to like this. And I'm going to share two things. Cannabis is going to be one, and kratom is another thing. So the cannabis, they've identified this recently because they're really exploring the terpene profiles in what it does. So especially, as you mentioned, California, that's where it's happening. It's been there for years in Mendocino County and Humboldt County, and they're growing some incredible stuff and doing some really good research. But here's the point. Those that have the opioid addiction, and we all know somebody, and it's sad, close people, family, it changes them. They steal everything because they got to get that substance to satisfy the crave. Anything with an OG base, okay, it doesn't matter the THC percentages, those high percent, it doesn't matter. It's really about the terpene profile, and more specifically the myrcene. which is a terpene. Myrcene is the one that gives you the sedative heaviness, the couch lock.
Yeah.
That's the myrcene. So if you have an OG base, the underlying on the cultivar itself, that is the strain you need to guide people into acquiring, whether it's in the oils or in the smoke itself, the herb or the edibles with an OG base because of the myrcene profile. More specifically, less on the edibles and more on the burn. That gives them the relief from the crave, because that's the thing that they can't get past is the crave. It's almost like you said you stopped smoking cigarettes, right?
Yeah.
You had to deal with that crave for a period of time, and it's like that little voice. How long did it take for that voice to really subside? It takes a distance.
I mean, every now and again, I still want like a quick one.
Right. So you still have the crave.
Every now and again, but it's only when it's like I go to NASCAR weekend, I want a cigarette, but then I don't have one. And then I'll go 4th of July. I want a cigarette, but I'm not.
So you're trying to celebrate, and because it's a celebration.
It was always a social thing to me.
Right.
It was always a social thing to me. So it was always like, let's go outside and have a cigarette.
Right.
It was always a way to go.
Imagine that, and then take that 100-fold and call it opioids, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't do those. No.
Yeah, and the opioids give you that, they hold you. But the cannabis is the relief that they need to transition. Now, kratom is another thing that I discovered recently, and I'm studying it now. Very interesting. It's a natural herb. It's in the coffee plant strain.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It grows in Asia.
Yeah.
And people are finding that as a natural relief for the opioid, because it touches the opioid receptor but doesn't act like an opioid that shuts down your respiratory system. And that's what kills you, is respiratory. That's why no one in history, and I challenge anybody to show me a case that someone died directly from ingestion of cannabis itself or smoking of cannabis, of too much. Doesn't happen, hasn't happened, because it doesn't affect your respiratory system. That's important. So those are some of the things I've learned.
If you could die from weed, I would have died.
Yeah, you would have died, man.
I would have died
10 times over. Me too. But a lot of this stuff I started out as
Could you imagine that if it was that bad, dude? The epidemic that would be upon us.
God,
Everybody smokes weed, dude.
Yeah.
Everybody smokes weed.
Yeah, but they'd stop smoking because people would be dying left and right. Oh no, they wouldn't, because look at opioids.
Right.
Nobody stopped doing it. They're dying left and right.
So when was the last time you didn't smoke?
Didn't smoke cannabis.
Yeah.
All right. So here's a good part of my
Do
story.
you count this as smoking? What do you call that?
I would say it's smoking.
Okay.
But it's less harmful.
No, I'm just saying, if we were referring to it in a conversation,
I don't like to, in a general conversation, when I say I smoke, people will pass me the joint, and then I feel bad that I have to say no, and it's almost an insult because it's a gift. Okay, it's a sacrament.
No, don't feel bad. I do it all the time.
I do, but I explain myself in advance so they don't feel that I'm like,
Right.
hey, your weed's not good enough for me, man. It's not dank enough for me. I'm not taking it.
Right.
I'm not that. What I'm saying is, I don't burn. Mm-hmm. So I just say I just don't burn. I vape, and then they know I'm cool with it, and I'm not. When you get older and you start, you get gray hair and stuff, people look at you like, he's one of these square guys, L7 weenie. So I just explain it to people and they feel.
Right.
I got you.
I still went to pass you a blunt after you told me.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
it's okay, and
I'm like that. I don't smoke around sixth season. I don't smoke with people.
Yeah,
because people get sick.
Sixth season. I was all about that. It's
what I
like
mean?
and then you get the guy who rolls a joint.
Yeah.
Should be dry in a minute here.
Yeah, and it's
like
dude,
you're gonna smoke that?
Yeah, disgusting.
Yeah, what kind of strange were you in yesterday? You're over here putting your mouth all over what things are going on in my mouth. I don't like
disgusting.
that. I don't like that at all.
So
Yeah.
what do you guys do at Grassroots?
So New England
Did
grass.
we just ask that question?
Did you?
Dude, we'll play this movie over as many times as
Did
it
I
takes.
miss that whole thing?
No, I'm just amazed that it took us that long to get to the
I thought you
next
said
line.
you just asked it, as in you just asked
So
it.
he saw the future. He's a visionary. He sees the future. So he was way ahead of us. He was like a few seconds ahead of us.
No.
Time caught up. He's a time traveler, man.
I'm a
This is
little
what
high
it is.
now.
I remembered at the beginning, you looked at the card, and it was when you were reading it about. You went, let me see. You picked up the card, and you went, I can't see, fuck. You picked up the card, and you were like, New England Grassroots Institute. And you were like looking at it while you were reading. I'm trying to explain my high logic right now. So look at, You looked at it, you went like that. You put it down. We went for like
Hey, man, let's get a
45
pizza.
minutes. Hold on 1 second. We went for like 45
gonna lose
minutes. Went for like 45 minutes, and then you picked it back up, and you were like, "So what do you guys do there?" So I just thought it was like the logical next question.
I thought you were saying that you had just asked him, and I was
No.
I missed the whole conversation.
And he thought I said I could travel through time. But alas,
You can't.
it was just me being high.
You time traveler. You know you are.
Oh, if I
He's
could.
not going to tell anybody.
So business law, medical.
What would you do if you could travel back in time? You get one chance. You can go back in time. What are you going to do?
How far back?
As far as you want. You can go do whatever you want.
And am I
You
stuck?
get one chance.
Am
though.
I stuck there though?
No.
No, you get to come back.
Oh, that's too dangerous, man. So here's what will happen. You've all watched Back to the Future, right? And this is fact. So if I go back in time and I interface with anything that touches my timeline, when I come back, my timeline is gone. That's how time works. Right now, I just changed time. I just moved you. That interfered with where your trajectory originally was. It's now changed because I touched you.
Man.
You've been moved. So your whole reality is different now.
That's true.
So going back in time, I would pass. I would pass on it. Because the problem is
like the Louis C.K. bit when he's
my
like,
trajectory changes.
he goes, the only time someone asks you that question is because they want to tell you what they would do. He goes, you know what? And next time someone asks you that, just say I'd fucking, if I had a time machine, I'd leave it on the desk. I wouldn't even fucking use it. You know what?
It's an awesome answer.
Right. And that's basically what he just said. Like, no, I wouldn't even fucking touch it. And I don't want to hear what you would do about it either. So.
Oh, I didn't have an answer. I was just asking him.
No,
I'm
I'm
interviewing. He's talking.
That's like putting your hand on a hot burn and going, ow, that hurts. What, are you going to do it again? No. But I learned from that, didn't I? Right? So if you understand time, I'm not going to go back and touch and break something and hurt and burn myself and come back.
It doesn't mean you can't do things.
I won't do it.
You could have been like, kill Hitler and moved on.
No,
That's
but
another thing.
have you ever watched 11/22?
No.
No.
You watched the movie, dude.
It's a movie?
So it's about JFK, where a guy goes back in time and he changes history. And then when he came back, the reality that he had at that time all changed.
So how does that affect his timeline?
So here's what happens. Everything is in my opinion. Again, we could be living in a programmed reality. Ask Elon Musk. He'll tell you. This is all just a computer program that we're running right now. All right, so that's for those out there that hear that resonate with that. But if you go back and you change something, okay, then you're going to say, okay, what was the cause and effect? Oh, we had nuclear war. If I hadn't gone back, if I hadn't gone back and fucked with Hitler,
right,
we wouldn't have had nuclear war, which ruined the entire Earth.
I mean,
I don't know. See, I don't have an
an
answer to that.
War.
I'm just saying. You just said
No,
it. Wouldn't you go back and change that?
No, we did have nuclear war.
I'm way too high for this right now.
No, we dropped a bomb. We didn't have nuclear war.
I mean,
There's a difference. No, we didn't have a war. We dropped 2 bombs
That was enough.
on human beings, on a society.
That was
Okay,
enough.
I know it was, but it wasn't a war. Can you
So you're
imagine?
saying like full out nuclear
yeah,
war?
yeah. Imagine if that
I never
happened.
got the point of that.
But the problem is we went down this timeline
Yeah,
thing.
that was
Oh
a
man, I
dark-
better turn this around. Okay,
jumping
now I'm
in
ready.
here.
You ready?
So as I was
we're
trying
talking
to say,
about time.
what do we do at grassroots?
So obviously
This is
podcast.
what happens when you let a couple of guys smoke too much.
I got cut off about time when I was trying to ask.
We're trying to do a little bit of plug for where'd the knowledge come from. So the knowledge came from New England Grassroots Institute.
What do you guys do there?
Grassroot420.com. Check us out for sure. So I discovered
We'll put all
these
the
guys
info in the description, links and stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, man. So I was looking, I lost my dad to cancer about 7 years ago, and watching that guy who looks exactly like me, or I should say I'm a duplicate of him. I'm a clone. And I watched the poor guy suffer with a severe cancer that came on just in 90 days. And
That's so fast.
yeah, it's tough. But I'm there, and I'm like, okay, as you get past the pain of losing someone, then you go, okay, what can I do about this? Because that demise is going to be my demise, right? So I have a self-preservation mode as well, like all of us do. But I'm also going, wait a minute, I'm going to find a solution to this problem because it's rampant. Because when you ask, really, when it touches your life from someone close to you, all of a sudden, it's like, you ever drive in a car, you're driving that model car, and all of a sudden you never saw that car before, and all of a sudden you see it everywhere.
Yep.
Well, all of a sudden, when cancer touches you, all of a sudden you see it everywhere, and you want to figure out what's causing it. And then how can I fix that? So I went on a quest for knowledge and information. Now, me personally, I don't watch television. I shut it off at least 12, maybe 15 years ago when I realized it was a controlling program. That's why they call it programming, because it programs you. And it's nothing but bad news. When you wake up, when you're having dinner, when you're having lunch, before bedtime, they give you a dose of bad news so that you can get on a pill because you're fucking depressed.
That's all real.
Yeah, you can
Everything he just said was real.
Yeah. So
the time thing I'm not sold on yet, but that.
Yeah, that was just we were just fantasizing there.
No,
but so when I went on the quest for the knowledge, I experienced cannabis more on the recreational side growing up. But I always used to make the claim to all my friends back then would tell you, I used to say it was the cure-all. For stress, and if you're aggravated, angry, you want to go beat somebody up, just smoke a joint and then, forget about it or whatever. But now we have technology and the internet, and there's information flowing, and it's a matter of you sifting through that information and discovering, and I did that. And I ran into New England Grassroots Institute 5 years ago, so I went through their amazing 8-week course, and boy, when I went in, I just thought I was going to learn how to grow better pot, and just be better at it, When I got there, I was a little bit shocked. I was like, why are we talking about history? We went back 5,000 years to the history of the cannabis plant and how the humans interface with it, and they brought us through that timeline. Mike and Melissa are absolutely amazing. They brought us through that into the law, the current law, the past law, and where it's going. And then how to grow it, different techniques, how to be able to do it from home, grow your own medicine. Then how to extract the oils out, how to do that, how to do topicals so you can make salves from the roots. Who knew? So everything from end to end, and because this is cannabis and hemp, and I don't use the word marijuana. To me, that is a slang term that was a word devised to help demonize this, and it's a slang term from Mexico, but it's truly cannabis and hemp. That, as it is now changing worldwide, you're seeing it in front of your eyes. It will save this planet Earth, which is a vessel in a sea of space that we reside on. It's a living organism, and we're killing the shit out of it because we're like a virus, just like the Matrix says. If you watch the movie The Matrix,
of course,
we're the virus, right? So we need to learn how to take care of that vessel that sustains us, because we are part of it, because we came from it. Our sustenance comes from it. Everything that we make, everything we see is made from it. I know I digress there, but back to grassroots. It started to expose information that wasn't accessible to me at that time. I didn't know where to look. I didn't know which direction. Then all of a sudden I got the spark, not even just a joint spark, but I got the spark to search for the information, because the internet is there. It's just a giant library. So I really started to hone in on how do the cannabinoids, I don't want to get into it right now because it is a long story, and we'll save that for another podcast if you guys want me back.
Of course.
But
I don't know, keep altering my timeline, dude.
You might not be here, but you'll be different when you come back.
Right.
But what I discovered with these guys, they shared information and knowledge. They've been in this industry for over 40 years. They're very, very loving people, and they have knowledge. And so they're helping people, and it's just growing and growing. We got more people looking to get into our class. Back in my day, we called that greedy. You took too much.
Oh, yeah.
You held it in too long, dude. But anyways, you guys should definitely check them out. Grassroot420.com. Follow us on Facebook, like the page, and you can see what's happening. We post a lot of videos and information. We'll be bringing online courses for those that can't travel to our school to learn about it. But, we're like, and I'll use the reference of Oaksterdam for those that don't know what Oaksterdam is. We are the Oaksterdam of the East Coast, but we're New England Grassroots Institute. And we're at all the events. Check us out at our booth. Stop in. Check us online. And we'd love to help you with increasing your knowledge base to use this recreationally properly. And also, if you want to get a job or career in this sector, you want to learn everything you can. So check us out. And I hope to get back on another podcast with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we might have bigger plans in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, you never know where it will go because this is huge. This is huge. So thanks for inviting me on today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. He altered it. That's it. We'll see.
Joe Dalton University, man. JDU. You gotta check out JDU.
I'll take your universe right now.
You can learn some stuff.
Peace.